And here she is, the lady of the hour.
Hey there, Miss Valerie.
I've got someone who's come a long way here to see you, Callie.
Erin, you made it!
I made it!
You're in the South!
It's all coming south for me now.
You wild woman, it's so good to see you.
I didn't think you sounded like you were from around here. Where are you from, Erin?
Well, I lived in NYC when I was little, so that's probably in the mix in terms of my accent. We moved to Maryland when I was 7, suburb of Baltimore.
So sort of Southern, almost Southern.
Almost Southern.
And where did you two meet?
Vassar. I came wandering onto campus junior year. Everyone else already knew each other. And this woman actually took me in, told me how things worked, and opened up her circle of friends to me.
So, is Mackenzie coming?
Nah, I got a text from her yesterday. She can't make it.
Too bad. It would have been nice to see her.
I had a feeling if she didn't book a ticket before this.
I know. She's a super flake.
Hey, look, it's a long way to come for a party. And I'm so glad that you went ahead and did it. How's it going in there?
Well, I think your friends are having fun. I mean, they got me to crank up the air conditioning. They like it nice and cool. But I served some sweet tea, and they're in the living room playing some game with quarters.
They're playing quarters? Maybe they're having a flashback to when we were at Sweetland Tech.
Well, I've got a few things in the oven still, but when it's all ready, I'll just ask them to help me bring everything outside.
Good. Put them to work, and don't let them get too drunk.
Oh, it's just sweet tea, like I said.
Yeah, but Leeza carries a flask in her bag or hidden somewhere on her person. I'm sure she's spiking the tea with something or other.
Turning it into Long Island iced tea?
Or something.
Well, I guess that explains how high-spirited she's become.
Yeah. So, it's still just her and Roxie in there?
Yes, my friend Charlotte. I told you she was coming.
Sure, glad to have her along.
She's been helping me in the kitchen.
Do people think that it's weird I'm out here?
Not so I've noticed. I mean, I think everyone assumes that you may want a little time alone and maybe some time to talk with your old friend.
Yeah, thanks. It would be good if Erin and I could catch up a little bit. If that's okay.
Oh, sure. No trouble at all. This is your day, Callie. It's a big day before the really, really big day. And it should be exactly the way you want it to be.
Miss Valerie, I so appreciate this. I can't tell you.
Don't give it another thought. And thank you for letting me talk about my garden and my group. And well, you'll have to stop me if I get carried away and talk too long.
Impossible. I want you to talk our ears off.
Well, I am sort of on a mission. I mean, this app, it has just changed my life.
Preach it. Wait till everyone's out here and then tell them how you saw the light.
What's the app?
Oh, I'll tell you all about it later, but it has to do with the garden.
Hey, the garden is pretty amazing. I mean, the flowers, the vegetables. I feel like I can smell those tomato plants and the big fat tomatoes on them from here.
Well, aren't you sweet?
That's the way to get on Miss Valerie's good side, Erin. Talk about her tomatoes.
You'll be having some for lunch. I've made salsa, and there's a tomato jam to put on the scones.
Tomato jam?
Yeah, Miss Valerie's pretty hardcore. She can put a lot of different spins on a tomato.
Do you have a big garden at home, Erin?
We do not. I'm in an apartment right now, and at my folks' place there's a lawn my dad hires a local kid to mow.
Well, then it's possible you have never tasted a real tomato, because those ones in the supermarket are just bred to last longer, and they taste just like soggy old cardboard, like an old water balloon.
But Miss Valerie did not grow the wheat to make the scones herself. Or did you?
No, I'm not growing my own wheat yet. Well, that bakery, oh, it makes such nice fresh scones, and their bread. Well, and I feel pretty good about the flour that I use when I bake cakes and cookies. But that general tomato situation in the world is pretty dire, and most people don't even know what they're missing.
You're probably right. This could be the day that I find out what a real tomato tastes like.
Well, this is how I proselytize. This is how I spread the gospel.
And right here in your church is the place to do it.
You know, more and more it is my church. Right here. I'm not sure if I'm proud of that. But now I'd better go in and check on that squash casserole. Callie, is there anything I can get from you inside? Some sweet tea yourself?
I'm doing great with just water.
Well, all right then.
Oh, but can you let me know when my sister gets here?
Will do. Did I tell you how pretty you look today, Callie?
Yeah, but it's okay. I don't mind the repetition.
I'm looking forward to meeting your sister. I'll send her right on out. Erin, is there anything I can bring out for you?
It's okay. I'm good.
All right then.
That's a cheerful soul.
Yeah.
She introduced herself to me as Valerie. How come you call her Miss Valerie?
I've always called her that. She was my librarian when I was growing up.
School library?
No, public library. From the day I got a card to take books out of the children's room, she steered me to her favorite books about bugs and animals and kind of started looking out for me during some nutty, lonely years. She was a good friend and a comforting figure.
Parent figure?
Yeah, I guess.
But I saw pictures in the house. It looks like she has a husband.
She did, but he passed away 5 years ago. He was a nice man. But it doesn't matter. People who knew her husband still call her Miss Valerie.
You okay? You've kind of done a number on that napkin.
No, I'm fine. It's just idle destructiveness. Did you come here straight from the airport?
No, I checked into my hotel first.
Oh, where are you staying?
The Quality Inn.
That's supposed to be all right.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Did you rent a car?
I took a lift. So is your mom flying in?
No, she'll fly in for the wedding, but not for an afternoon party.
Like Mackenzie. How many more people are you expecting?
Probably just my sister. It's not gonna be one of those ginormous wedding showers, but that's okay.
Sure.
I'm so glad you came. That makes it special.
And your sister's coming?
Yes, of course. How did you find Leeza and Roxie? Were they nice to you?
Oh, we really didn't get to talk all that much.
But your first impression was...
Honestly?
Yeah, please.
I think I feel a little bit wary of them. They were all nice and welcoming and laughing and joking, but in this arch sort of menacing way. Roxie asked me all these questions about myself and said, "You can trust us. We're your new best friends." And I sort of shivered. But that could just be my paranoia.
Or not.
Or not. But they organized this event for you?
With Miss Valerie, yeah.
Are they all close?
Not really, but they're trying to get along. I broadly hinted that I wanted a surprise shower. I mean, I come here a lot, at least once a week, so it wouldn't have been hard to trick me, to have Miss Valerie tell me to drop by to see an interesting plant or bug or try something she cooked and have people hiding, leaping out and yelling, "Surprise!" But then I kept getting these psycho phone calls from Roxie and Leeza. You know, they're best friends, but they'd call me and complain, "Roxie's playing your shower, but she's doing it wrong, and Miss Valerie won't let me do such and such." I willed myself not to know it was imminent, but it was sort of like they wanted to spoil the surprise. So I went in and said, "Let me know when it's coming. Let me referee between the two of you and Miss Valerie."
That sucks.
I don't think you can coerce people into throwing you a surprise party. I was wrong to try.
But if you think those two are out to spoil it for you, that's bad news, because aren't they involved with the rest of the wedding?
Yeah. Leeza is my maid of honor, and Roxie is a bridesmaid with you and Shannon, my sister. Even though Roxie got married last year, so bridesmaid is a weird term in this context.
Is that why you're out here shredding napkins? Because they're being weird to you?
Could be. A lot of things have weirded me out lately. You know, it's all like trying to course or engineer a happy party. This whole project feels doomed. I do not have good karma when it comes to this kind of thing.
With weddings? This is your first wedding, Callie, far as I know.
With parties and proms and celebrations where I say, I'm the queen, I'm the Disney princess, pay attention to me, make me feel special. I don't do it often, but I set myself up for more than failure. When I try to force a fairy tale moment for myself, it all turns grotesque, and I end up like Carrie on prom night, covered in a bucket of pig's blood.
Killing everyone with your psychic powers? Bummer.
Well, don't worry. I don't have telekinetic powers, I don't act out. I just internalize the bad stuff, and I wind up wishing I hadn't tried to live a fairy tale in the first place. Junior prom. I went with Wade Moody, my gay best friend, and he got annoyed with me and ditched me. Senior prom, I wound up going with the son of a guy my father works with, and this kid, I barely knew him, but he was all over me. We'd get up to dance and he'd be pressing his crotch up against me. It was icky.
Sounds like assault.
I didn't feel like, oh, a guy with a boner in his tuxedo pants, I'm being sexually assaulted. I wasn't traumatized that way. I just thought, well, this is tacky and depressing and horrible. And so I avoided dancing, except for rock songs where I could jump around and dance with my friends. I'm just saying it's a pattern. For my Sweet 16, my sister talked my dad into throwing a big party, and I let her. And she flew in for it, but it was all about her because she's a minor celebrity here in Sweetland.
Should I have heard of her?
I don't know. Shannon Cooper, she did some modeling in her teens. She's had some buzz as an actress. She's been on shows like CSI, at least one of the CSI shows, and Elementary, and she's done Hallmark movies. I mean, she does okay. And she went to Nashville for a few years and cut an EP, like not as a vanity project. A label took her on as an artist and they paid for her EP. She has a pretty singing voice.
But she didn't make it as a country star?
Well, she wanted to write or co-write all of her songs to be like Taylor Swift or something. I think that was a mistake for her.
She should have sung songs that other people wrote.
Look, what the hell do I know? I'm just saying that the Sweet 16 party felt like my birthday parties when I was little, and Shannon would sweep in and tell the kids a story and put them in it as characters, except some years she'd pick a fight with my mama and with daddy and say she didn't feel like it. She'd lock herself in her room with my mama trying to coax her out and all the kids waiting on her. It was all about her. It was kind of like that again, only with the Sweet 16. I also had to deal with Shannon's critique of my hair and my shoes and my makeup and my dress.
You've got different mothers, right?
Yeah, she is 14 years older than I am. Her mother and our father went study in high school, got married when he came back from college. Then Daddy had a little midlife crisis when he turned 40, got rid of his 40-year-old wife, and wound up with my mom, who was 19 and living at home and wanted to get out of the house. So she married the richest guy in town, who was kind of a scary father figure, I guess, and she stayed in that bad marriage as long as she could stand it while I was growing up. And then she took off to be a hippie chick and finally settled down with a hippie guy in Burlington, Vermont. And now you know our family saga.
She didn't take you with her when she left?
No, she was finding herself. She left me knocking around Daddy's big old house here in Sweetland. I was 9, but I go spend summers in Vermont once she remarried.
Did she raise Shannon at all?
Nope. Shannon's mom did take her when that breakup happened, moved to Memphis, Both wives got good divorce settlements. My dad's not petty that way.
But he's scary.
He's not real warm and fuzzy, but I had some housekeepers that were nice.
And Miss Valerie, the librarian.
Yep. How much do you charge for all this therapy?
Consider it my bridal shower gift. I mean, I got you a gravy boat. That was one of the items you registered for.
Oh, good. I like that gravy boat.
Oh, shoot. You wanted to be surprised. You said...
Not by items I'm registered for. I picked them out, so it's no big surprise. I like the glaze on that gravy boat, the colors running together.
I liked it too in the catalog picture online. But then I saw the gifts the others got you in there. The size of the wrapped up packages. I wish I had picked up a few more things. With so few people here...
Oh, people can buy stuff for the wedding. I'm just worried about the other things in there. Roxie got a bunch of presents as a bride last year that she did not want, didn't register for. I was at the shower and the wedding. Somebody got her white towels that just look like they belong in a hospital. And then she wanted to unload them on me. She had Leeza sound me out about how nice and clean white towels look. And I said, no. Please tell Roxie I don't want stuff from her wedding. Please tell her to get something Mark and I registered for, or else she can just let the shower and all her help with it be her present. I hope she listens. I mean, somebody got her a big coffee maker.
A coffee maker is nice, unless it's ugly or weird.
Well, Roxie thought this one was ugly and weird and complained to Leeza that it was this bulky, shiny chrome thing, but the issue was that she already had one. As for me, I don't drink coffee. I'm nervous enough, I talk too much as it is, I don't even go to Starbucks.
I remember from college, you don't even do well with the caffeine and Diet Coke.
I know, right? I get wired, and Mark doesn't drink coffee either. And Roxie got these weird cocktail glasses. I'm afraid she might try to unload those on me.
Wow, I've never known you to care so much about objects. I guess it's a bride thing.
It's not the objects! Exactly! I mean, we'll be moving into Mark's apartment. It's got a small kitchen. It just feels like a violation, a diss, to have Roxie unload her junk on me when I specifically asked her and everybody to get me something I registered for, or else just come and have fun. It feels like a deliberate insult to me and my wedding, like I'm her garbage disposal unit. Maybe I'm just being a crazy bride. This wedding stuff is so weird, you know?
What wedding stuff?
Just everything! The rigmarole, the rituals, the sales pitches, the politics of it. Shannon's on my case because I said, everybody wear a blue dress that you like. Go choose your own to be my maid of honor and bridesmaids. But that's because I was in Roxie's wedding and 2 others.
But those women aren't coming today.
Well, no. Bethany moved to Atlanta, she's coming to the wedding, and Amber got into a huge fight with Roxie and Leeza, and now she's not talking to any of us.
Small town drama.
Yep. Anyhow, having done the bridesmaid thing, the colors of those bridesmaid dresses and the weird cuts on them and the bows on them, and you can never wear them again.
Yeah, that's always the problem.
And women get so psycho about the details of planning their wedding. One bride at a wedding I went to, she was so self-absorbed on her wedding day in her own magical, happy space in her dressing room, playing with her hair for hours and hours, la la la, while all of us sat in the pews and waited on her. I'm not being like that now, am I? Out here? I'm not being some kind of super diva?
No, it's fine.
I don't want to turn into a bridezilla or some ditz or some reality show queen.
You're fine.
Good. Thank you. So, tell me about yourself.
Are you sure you're okay?
Yes, tell me about yourself, what you've been up to, so I don't feel like a self-centered bitch.
You're not self-centered. It's your freaking bridal shower.
My karma is coming for me. I know it. I'll pay for my vanity. The gods of ancient Greece are setting up the pulley system for the bucket of pig's blood now, as we speak.
Uh-oh. I don't think karma is their thing. That's a whole different religion.
Then it's the Furies or fate, whatever. Who cares? tell me about yourself.
I'm kind of treading water. I've got my own bitty little apartment.
Good for you. I've been living at home, my daddy's house.
Sure, but soon you and Mark will move into that apartment.
Right.
I'm selling real estate, but I don't think that's what I want to do. I was thinking of going to graduate school and getting a degree in education.
But you'd hate the courses you'd have to take.
Exactly. I know I talked about that at Vassar, and you'd think I'd made my peace with it by now and I'd just get it over with. But there are so many stupid things they make you do to get an ed degree and teach kids in a public school.
Yeah, I know Miss Valerie looked into it when she got out of college. She even enrolled in a program to become a teacher, then dropped out.
Really?
You should ask her about it. She stuck with library science and worked mostly in the children's room and interacted with kids that way.
She'll probably talk me out of going for my teaching certificate. I've already half-talked myself out of it. Again.
Well, it's noble. Teaching kids during their obnoxious years, it's like joining the Peace Corps.
I think it could actually be fun if I could just get in the damn classroom.
I think that was a mosquito. Do you want some bug repellent? I've got it as a roll-on.
It's not so buggy.
Well, it's not just the mosquitoes. Sometimes there are chiggers.
What's a chigger?
Oh boy. You never heard of chiggers? If you really want the full Tennessee experience, set your butt down in the grass and wait.
Are they insects?
Arachnids, I think. They're these mite things like ticks, tiny. You can't see them, but their larvae dig into your skin and inject enzymes to break down the skin cells and bore a hole and kind of slurp out the cells and chew on you.
Ugh, that's horrible.
They're a nasty parasite. No lasting harm, but it can itch like anything when they get you. It's one southern thing I do not miss when I'm up north. Mosquito bites I can handle. Most bugs I'm good with.
I know, you're extremely pro-bug.
So, what else is going on? You seeing anybody?
No. Tell me about Mark.
Oh, so Mark's a little like me. He's from here, but not exactly from here, you know?
I thought you grew up here.
I did, but I had those summers in Vermont with my mother and her husband Sam, and then I'd visit Shannon in Memphis and Nashville and Hollywood when she was on the set of a TV show or in an indie film, and just going to Vassar after my time at Tech. Even if you travel a little bit, when you get back to a town like Sweetland, it seems really small.
Yeah, I could see that. Though there seems to be lots of new buildings going up from what I saw on the drive over here.
That's my dad, mostly. He does most of the building in town.
Really?
Yeah. He buys these cool old houses from the 1920s with nice brick or stonework and pillars out front, and he pulls them down and puts a duplex on the lot for twice the money. He slips payola to the people running the historic district, so they let him do it.
Oh.
Well, that's how come he's so rich. I hate the big boxy houses he puts up. I think they're really ugly. It took me until this year to admit that to myself. Anyhow, Mark is 2 years older than me, so I didn't know him in school, but he grew up here till he was 12. Then his mother went out with this guy from Argentina.
How did she meet a guy from Argentina?
She was a flight attendant. She met people from all over. And his parents had this big, ugly divorce, way nastier than my folks. And she took Mark to Buenos Aires and all over South America. And so, I was just hanging out with people I knew from school the night I met him. You know, I've been working for my dad, but that's kind of a problem since I hate how he's tearing down all the old, beautiful houses. I've been living at home. I haven't figured out what I want to do, really.
Yeah, being English majors made us so damn employable.
Or not.
Or not.
But it was good, at least, to spend time with old friends like Roxie and Leeza. We were all just reconnecting at a bar downtown, and then Mark buys me a beer and starts telling me about Buenos Aires and the Pampas and Patagonia and God knows what. Not the stuff guys around here usually talk about.
What do they talk about?
Just the game on TV, who's gonna win, and what kind of truck they want to buy. and which of them can hold their liquor and acts like the biggest fools when they're drunk. And Mark can talk like that. He can be that way around his friends, but he's got this whole other side, this secret life he kind of has to hide from them. And that felt a little like me. Like how I relate to a lot of people here with stuff I can't talk about. We're going to Argentina on our honeymoon. He's going to take me all over.
To Brazil?
Maybe.
Because I know how you always say you want to see a rainforest.
Sure, but there's a rainforest in Seattle. There are rainforests in Costa Rica. Kind of wish we could go there.
So go, you could.
We actually could. His folks are paying for the trip.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
So why do you sound like you're going to a funeral?
Well, that's another reason I've just been stressed. Mark's not metabolizing the wedding real well. I mean, we're both under a strain.
It's hard. It's one of those big life-lurching experiences, they say. Like giving birth.
Yeah, well, and we both have messed up families flying in who won't do well with their exes, but it's the whole thing. It's like I can smell the terror on him. He's just gotten really tense and curt with me. I say something and he looks at me like I'm a stranger. And I feel like he's the stranger. And I can't talk this stuff out with him, but he's got other people he confides in, and that feels disloyal to me. But then here I am talking to you. Maybe second thoughts are normal for everybody, but I've been kind of filled with dread. I walk on eggshells when I'm around him, and I just think that's a bad omen. Like maybe once the wedding is over, we'll relax and we'll go back to what it's like when things are good. Maybe we'll get out of Sweetland and travel around Latin America and go to some wonderful new place in our relationship. But what if we don't? Or what if something else comes up? Because probably at some point there will be some stress in our lives.
Probably. Listen, I'm sorry if you've been trying to tell me that you wanted to talk and I haven't taken the hint. I should have called you or...
No, listen. Thank you for letting me dump all of this on you now. It's not my idea of being a good hostess.
Screw being a good hostess.
Please don't say anything.
Of course not. Callie, of course I won't say a word.
I know you won't. You and Miss Valerie, everybody else around here, God knows.
It's funny though, at Vassar, I mean, even at parties or during bull sessions, you'd listen to the rest of us sound off about our lives, complain about our rotten boyfriends, you'd offer advice. But I don't think I ever heard you talk about yourself and about your family and these women you were up with.
I wanted to experiment with being someone new. And then after I graduated, I felt like coming back home to here. Whatever home means.
Hey there, ladies. Here come the swag bags.
The swag bags? Oh, yeah.
It's some kind of mix of items chosen by your friends, Callie, and some things chosen by Valerie. I mean, you said they should compromise, and so they sort of pooled their ideas.
Yeah, I hope my friends haven't given her too hard a time as Charlotte, or you.
Well, different generations, different ways of doing things. But this way, there'll be something for everyone.
I don't think I met you.
Oh no, I guess I was busy in the kitchen when you got here. I'm Charlotte Hayes. I've been friends with Valerie, since we got our degrees in library science.
Miss Charlotte lives 2 towns over, but she's always coming around.
The truth is, I have a pitiful, scraggly little garden of my own. But I like to come to Valerie's and see how it's done. Especially the last few years since my husband passed. I've been trying to get out of the house and concentrate on my garden. And I can hardly grow any fruits and vegetables at all. and the bugs and squirrels get what I do grow. So I come around and watch Valerie make it all look easy.
That's what a lot of us do. Should we come in the house?
Not unless you want to. The food's almost all ready, but your sister's not here yet.
Okay. Please let me know when she gets here. And Roxie and Leeza aren't too plastered.
You know, it's hard to say. I mean, maybe they're just naturally lively, especially Leeza.
Uh-oh.
But I'll suggest that they have some ice water and put on some calming music.
Do your best. Thanks.
See you soon. Very nice meeting you.
Likewise.
Swag bags. Like I said, weddings are crazy. Lisa's been acting bizarre lately, like Mark. In fact, apparently she showed up or tagged along when Mark's friends took him out for his bachelor party. Apparently, both she and Roxie were there, and Roxie's been hinting something or joking about how wild Leeza got, maybe making out with Mark's friends, or I don't know. Leeza shuts her down and tells her to shut up whenever Roxie mentions it. I shouldn't have asked Leeza to be my maid of honor. She was Roxie's maid of honor and Bethany's. She's done it too much, and she's between boyfriends, and she's on some antidepressant, Zoloft or whatever, but she drinks so much alcohol it doesn't really work. She picks up guys in bars, goes home with them. Roxie said Leeza pulled a train last month.
She went home with a bunch of guys and slept with them?
That's what Roxie said. I didn't know that term. She had to explain it to me. And it left Leeza all upset and depressed, obviously. She was drunk. She was messed up. I was sorry to hear about it, but I didn't try to talk to her. It's none of my business, and I'm scared to talk to her about anything these days. I think she blames all that stuff on me. Like, I'm in love, I'm getting married, I have everything. That's how she sees it.
That's bad.
She got drunk and weird at Roxie's wedding. She gave a scary toast, full of joking insults, like at a celebrity roast, making jokes about how high maintenance Roxie was as a bride, which she was. She'd call us up at all hours and complain about the caterers and the groom's family and demand things. But it was an uncomfortable speech for everybody there. Roxie laughed it off, so that made it seem all right, but I thought, if I ever get married, I do not want Leeza to be my maid of honor.
So why is she your maid of honor? Besides the fact that I was worthless and said no.
Well, you live in Baltimore. You don't like to organize foofy, girly things any more than I do. You had every right to say no. You're here for this, and you're flying in again for the wedding. Besides, Mark likes Leeza out of all my friends. He doesn't like Roxie that much, or her husband. He thinks it's trashy and pushy how Roxie still parties hard and flirts now that she's married. And I think he has issues with the idea of you and Mackenzie or other people from Vassar. He has an associate's degree.
Well, but you went to a junior college for 2 years. He could still go on to...
Yeah, but he doesn't want to. I don't care, but he's got a bug about me going to a fancy big-name school, even though he's bilingual and his stepdad Rogelio is setting him up in the cattle business. But Mark thinks Leeza is a fun girl, and she teases him and calls him the South American cattle baron and gives him a hard time in like a playful way. She gets along with his friends, including his best man, so Mark lobbied for her. He strongly suggested that I ask her, and I did. Me and Leeza are old friends. We sing country songs together, or we used to. Songs by Reba and Sugarland, Casey Musgraves. That's not something Roxie wants to do with either of us.
It is not something you could do with me either.
Well, I don't expect you to know that stuff. Lisa's an old friend, so I asked asked her. She didn't seem enthused, but I figured when I didn't have her running errands and listening to me bitching all the time, like Roxie, she'd be pleasantly surprised. I promised I'd be a really low maintenance bride. But then Cole, Leeza's boyfriend, broke up with her like a few weeks after she said yes, she'd do it, she'd be my maid of honor, and I really think she just blames me for everything.
Huh. Maybe you and Mark should elope.
That would solve my problem of how I can't talk to Roxie and Leeza. It would not solve my problem of how I can't talk to Mark.
Unless he lightened up on the honeymoon.
Yeah.
Did they like your sister, Roxie and Leeza?
They've only met her a few times. They were at that Sweet 16 party and Kitty birthday parties. We've known each other since like kindergarten. They were a little starstruck, but I told them some stuff. You know, my friends used to tease me saying, oh, I was so lucky. My life is perfect. My daddy's rich. My sister's almost famous. I summer in Vermont. And the people we grew up with, Leeza and Roxie and Bethany and Amber, I mean, they've got some real issues in their families. I won't say who's dealing with what, but people in Sweetland have problems with drinking and meth and opioids and physical abuse, sexual, you name it, just some messed up families. They kept saying, oh, Callie's the only one with no problems. And finally, I told them how when I was 6, I visited my sister on a movie set. I stayed with her in LA, and she called me her little dog in her apartment and around her friends and the crew. She called me Spot, and she'd tell me to sit and heel and fetch and sit up and beg and roll over and play dead. I said, don't call me Spot. And she said, I could pick another name, but I was still her little dog. So I said Batman. Because I'd seen a magician called Mr. Cartoon at a kid's party do an act with 2 doves, and he called them Batman and Robin. So, Shannon's friends and the other actors in the film crew, they called me Batman like it was just a funny name for a little girl. But they didn't like the whole thing of treating me like a dog, but she kept it up for a couple of years.
And this was when you were 6?
6, 7. I didn't see her that often. I told my friends about it because I was sick of them saying my life was great to indicate, well, no, not completely. My family's a little peculiar also, you know? But now they act like my sister is a super villain. They play it for drama. And yeah, my sister never really liked me. I mean, the way things went down between Daddy and her mom, why would she? I went to stay with Shannon and her mom once in Memphis when I was 10. It was weird. Her mom was commiserating with me. Daddy's so awful. This is what he does. And poor me, my mother didn't even take me with her. I didn't know what to say. And Shannon was kind of poisonous. Sometimes there are just waves of hostility coming off her. She took me out on bicycles one day. Her personal trainer had her on a diet and exercise kick. I hardly rode at all. And we went up and down hills for 10 miles, and I was panting and turning bright red. This man asked me if I was distressed and needed medical attention, and Shannon suddenly got so concerned about me, but she didn't want me to tell her mom what had happened. Like, she didn't want to get caught trying to wreck me physically.
Uh-oh.
There are these random moments of meanness, and then other times she tries to bond. Sometimes it's like we're actually sisters. But I've always been kind of a geek and a tomboy and not interested in fashion the way Shannon is.
No, I've never known you to focus on fashion.
I never wanted to enter pageant.
Your sister does beauty pageants?
She was in a couple. She was runner-up Miss Tennessee.
Wow.
But the ironic thing is Shannon has been so nice to me since she heard I was engaged. She's the one on the phone offering advice, offering to help, what I wish Roxie and Leeza were doing. She's flying in for this. She's so full of good wishes. She wants me to be happy. And Roxie and Leeza say all these snide things. Like, that's the one way they're trying to express solidarity with me, is to be evil about my sister and threaten to mess with her. And I'm like, no, 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 please don't. And they just won't stop. I don't know what Shannon is going to say in her toast today. I hope she keeps it short. Or just says, it's great that we're both grown women now and we're finally getting to know each other.
Why are you having toasts at the shower and not the wedding?
Well, so Mama and Daddy hate each other. They can both be a little socially oblivious. And I'm sort of haunted by nightmares of what Leeza did at Roxie's wedding.
Oh, right.
I don't think Leeza can make fun of me and say I'm a super demanding bride like Roxie was, because I don't even call her, I hide out from her. But I just think it's better to do it today. No rehearsal dinner, no toast at the wedding if I can help it. And Rogelio and Stacy, Mark's mother, will give us a party in Argentina. Maybe they'll make toast then.
In Spanish?
Yeah.
How's your Espanol?
Más o menos. I've got a little high school Spanish. Mark and I speak it together to be playful, to get me in practice. Or, you know, we used to.
Before things got weird.
Yep.
Callie, muchacha, I'm sorry you're dealing with everybody's crazy.
Yeah, me too. I used to think of Roxie and Leeza as close friends, grade school BFF stuff, you know? One reason I came back here was to get back in touch with girls I grew up with. I figured if your family is dysfunctional, you build yourself a family of people you like. And I've known them since we were into Dora the Explorer and the Powerpuff Girls. We went to Sweetland Tech together, and you can't make new old friends.
Maybe, not after a certain point when you're old and wrinkly, but you're not there yet. And you're right. If you've got a family of stinkers or problematic people, then absolutely build one of your own. But hell, you can do that with Mark. Have a few nice kids, have a few smart, humorous pets, and presto, you've got a family.
Roxie can be so smart. In high school, when classes were boring and tacky, it was a godsend. She was so sarcastic. She'd roll her eyes and make a face the teachers couldn't see, and we'd hurt ourselves trying to keep from laughing. We had one teacher, Miss Willits, who'd go on and on about the TV show Touched by an Angel, how it was such a great show, why didn't they bring it back? And later, Roxie was like, if you've been touched by an angel, tell a parent or an adult you trust. She had us falling over. She could be funny about girls in class who were crazy or in love with themselves, except you knew she was probably talking about you the same way behind your back. Or she'd do a whole routine about how Southern women use bless your heart to mean F you.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Roxie's actually read a lot, but she also keeps up with trash TV, the Kardashians and all. She mixes it all up in what she says and what she writes. That kind of wit, that kind of funny, it's rare in a town like this. I hate to lose her. Or Leeza. But Roxie's not just being weird about presents and my sister. She thinks of me as a kind of nerd, a loser. Her audience, someone to laugh at her jokes. I never dated much before I went off to Vassar. I think she's mad because she was the bride last time and now I'm the bride, and she sees it as a demotion. She does like to be the center of things. I mean, we all do. Listen to me going on.
I'm guessing you let her have center stage when she got married?
Oh, sure. I tried to. But Roxie writes poems, you know, and emails them to people. She submits them to online magazines and does poetry slams. That's fine. And some of her poems are good. But she wants her friends to read all her poems and say how great they are. Sometimes they're really long. And she called me the other day and said she'd had a vision in a dream that I had written a poem called Emily Dickinson, Troublemaker. And I said, yeah, I don't write poems, but I'd be all for a poem about that.
Yeah, that sounds good. She was a quiet, reclusive troublemaker.
Yes. But then it turned out Roxie meant that Emily Dickinson was a troublemaker in a bad way. I said, no, sorry, Roxie, I like Emily Dickinson. And she kept insisting that Emily Dickinson is awful. We both agreed she's so annoying and cloying and simpering and boring. Like a Hallmark card. Emily Dickinson never wrote about soldiers coming home maimed and wounded from the Civil War. Anything brutal is real life, Roxie said. She was off in her ivory tower.
Well, hell, Jane Austen lived through the Napoleonic Wars and never wrote about them. That's no reason to toss her novels out the window. Some people write only about what they know and what they've seen.
Thank you, exactly. But Roxie sees Emily Dickinson as some kind of puritanical Yankee. And maybe she sees me that way also, since my mother lives up north and I went to Vassar.
I like a couple Emily Dickinson poems. I could maybe recite one or two. I like the random capital letters and the hyphens. I like the death poems, with the fly buzzing and all, with the blue, uncertain, stumbling buzz.
Me too. And the soul selects her own society. Because I can go to an introverted place. Roxie wouldn't know what that even looks like. And I like the one about, I'm nobody. Who are you?
Yes.
I even mentioned poems like that, but Roxie kept turning me out. She sees it as a feminist issue. She thinks Dickinson was a role model for repressed wussy women.
Emily Dickinson was not a wuss.
I agree. I even see her as a feminist. And she thought like a naturalist, a biologist. She had a garden she loved, like this one.
Yes!
But like I said, Roxie does not do introverted. She kept willing me to agree with her that Emily Dickinson is bland and safe, and we both hate her, Roxie and me. And I kept saying, no, no, no.
They sound like a bunch of psychos, Callie. Maybe we should call another lift and get out of here? Just take off for some other city. You could be a runaway bride.
No, I hate that movie. I never saw it, but I hate all of them. Where somebody stands somebody up at an altar or plots to ruin somebody's wedding, and you're supposed to like the person who does it? Why should anyone ruin a wedding day? How is that funny or sympathetic?
You're too tender-hearted. Always were.
I've gotten so damn tender-hearted over this wedding. Even if I don't want everybody dressed just so. Even if I don't care about the tablecloths and the centerpieces, I keep crying for no reason.
Typical bride.
Yeah, that's probably all it is.
Callie, you out here?
Shannon, hey, come join us. Shannon, this is my friend Erin from college. Erin, this is my sister.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Sun's got me squinting, and this yard is freaking huge. I didn't see you at first.
Isn't it something? We're gonna have the wedding here as well.
Here? In this yard?
In Miss Valerie's garden, yes.
But how many can it hold?
She says there's room for 20 or 30 people without us trampling her tomatoes and flower beds. And that's about all we're gonna have.
But what if it rains?
Then I make Daddy rent a tent canopy thing, and then this wedding will start costing a little money. But otherwise...
Callie, you've got to stop pinching pennies, honey. This is your wedding day we're talking about. You can make Daddy cough up some cash.
I know, but I like this garden. I help out here. I've got a lot of good memories here.
But the whole thing feels a little bit homemade.
That's okay.
I mean, a garden wedding can be lovely, but there are only a few rows of flowers here, and they're kind of weird flowers. They're not wedding flowers. And the tomato plants and the eggplants.
And the squash and the okra and the zucchini.
And those ivy weed things growing over there.
She's growing a lot of buckwheat this year to help with composting. She's going for all different plants in her cover crop, so the mulch and the rotting roots in the ground prepare the soil for next year.
Well, that sounds perfectly disgusting.
I think it's nice.
Well, We'll talk about it. Personally, I think you've let this strange older woman shortchange your whole wedding plan, but
It was my idea to have the shower and the wedding here. I'm very grateful that Miss Valerie said yes.
are you paying her?
No, I offered. She wouldn't let me. I'm paying to rent the picnic tables and the chairs for the wedding, and like I said, a tent if it looks like rain.
But what about the food?
I'm paying for the ingredients that she doesn't grow herself, again, for the wedding, not for this little party, and the wine and the champagne, and I'm helping her cook.
Oh, honey, don't you think that's going to come off as a little scruffy and shabby?
Wait till you taste her cooking.
Well, I guess I'm about to, but we'll take some time and talk afterward, right?
Absolutely.
And we can talk dresses, because I know you said you didn't want the wedding dress to be silk or tulle or done with fancy beadwork, but there are dresses at this one website I want to show you.
Oh, Shannon,
What?
I think I found the dress. I mean, I bought a dress, and I like it.
I sure wish you'd waited till I got here. Did you have a fitting?
I bought it at a vintage clothing store. It fit me nice, and I was afraid someone else would buy it.
Was it a bargain?
It was $300.
Is it a wedding dress?
It's white.
Is it polyester?
It's cotton. All cotton, I think. It's pretty. It might have just been a summer dress originally, but it's long and it's got lace on it and a great big sash.
Does it have sleeves?
It's got short sleeves. They're round and a little bit poofy. It says wedding to me.
Well, that's what's important. I've got to try and stop being so bossy and imposing my vision on you. And you need to go ahead and shut me up and stop me every time I do that. I guess that's what you're doing.
Please don't be mad.
I'm not mad. If you're happy, I'm happy. Listen, I should go back inside the house and help. They said they would be bringing everything out now that I was here, except shouldn't we wait for the other people?
This is it. Everybody's here now.
But that's only... Well, I guess you're right. Friends aren't about quantity, it's quality. Family too. I may be the only family you've got here, but I am here to represent. And I'm so proud of you for doing this, I could hug you. In fact, I will hug you. So there.
What are you proud of me for?
For just taking a chance and doing something positive and hopeful and romantic and feminine and letting that whole side of yourself show. The old-fashioned girl who believes that dreams can come true, who likes lace on a dress and sleeves that puff up. I knew you had it in you. I told Bryce, sometimes a big sister can learn from a little sister. I really should get back in there and give them a hand. That woman Valerie
Shaw.
she said she was going to give some kind of talk. Did she just mean the toast?
No. So everyone else is going to make a toast, but since we're in her garden, I asked her to talk about it. And
Bugs. She mentioned bugs. Is she going to talk about bugs?
and flowers and trees and other things in nature. Yes, you'll see. It'll be wonderful.
Well, all right, girl, if you say so. I've got my toast ready anyhow. See you soon.
So, that's my sister.
Yeah.
Entomology doesn't do for her what it does for me. She sees me as a freak for liking insects. She's not heavily into arachnids either, or worms,
Or centipedes.
or millipedes. She always kind of thought I was geeky on purpose to bore her and gross her out.
When it just came natural.
So what can I carry?
Oh, I think we've got everything. You can just come back out here and take a seat. Here we are. I think it's best to keep most of what we're eating inside until the last minute with the flies and such. All the food is out of the oven now and being kept warm or cool as needed. We'll start with scones and jam. There's also orange marmalade, but that's not homemade.
It's all gonna be wonderful.
There's a lot of red wine in this punch, so go easy.
Yeah, Leeza, better stay away from it. Concentrate on the water.
Bite me.
Now. why don't we all take a seat and help ourselves to some scones?
But first, I'm taking a picture with the bride.
What?
I'm your maid of honor.
But you told me to respect your space.
But it's your bridal shower.
I don't think we
It's your bridal shower, and I'm your maid of honor, and I'm taking a picture with you. Roxie, get your phone out. Smile for the camera. Got it. Go ahead and take one more.
I think you look pretty. Don't you think I look pretty?
I think you look really nice, Leeza.
Smile.
Got it.
And now we can sit down and eat.
So, Callie, I figured out what Leeza spiked her sweet tea with.
Oh? What?
Bourbon. Wild turkey, I think.
Shut up, Roxie. How would you know?
I took a sip when you weren't looking. That's what's great about you, Leeza. You put the bourbon back into suburban life.
Damn straight.
Carrying it around in your bad girl flask.
Damn straight.
Well, it certainly turned out to be a pretty day for a party.
Yes, let's hope it's just as nice on the wedding day.
It's hot.
Oh, there's a little bit of a breeze, and the trees give some shade.
And the wedding will be in the morning, so it ought to be a little cooler.
So are we going to play any party games? I mean, sometimes a bridal shower.
As a good maid of honor, I looked into that. I tried to do it, but Callie said no. I even asked Miss Valerie what kind of party game she wanted to play.
Well, I mean, there were things we did at showers back in the day, but they're just ancient. I don't think anyone plays them anymore.
I remember, but I'm sure they've gone out of style.
See, I think most shower games are dumb and corny. I only let Leeza do the love song karaoke thing at mine. That turned out okay. But when Leeza suggested we do a bunch of games for this party, I Googled. An advice column said if you've got a bunch of different generations and people from different places who don't know each other, it's a good idea. And they showed all the rules for these games: wedding shower Scrabble and romantic movie Pictionary, pin the veil on the bride's butt, whatever. But Leeza and Callie said no. She said we couldn't even make her a wedding dress out of toilet paper.
I think we're going to be fine.
And you're the boss.
Wow. This tomato jam? You're right, Valerie. I'm joining your religion, whatever it is you're preaching about. This is amazing stuff.
Oh, well, thank you. There's nothing more satisfying than growing things and cooking them and serving them up to guests.
The food is amazing, and the punch is amazing, and thank you all for coming to my party.
Are we gonna open presents?
Oh, I thought maybe when we go back inside after the meal.
I bought you 2 things you registered for, Callie. I thought they were really stupid looking, but you wanted them, so I got them.
Well, hey, thanks, Leeza. I appreciate it. When we go back inside, I'll find out what they are.
Now, I know you only wanted stuff from your registry or for me to just show up like that was present enough. But I'll tell you what I got you. And I know it's something you don't have because I called your father to make sure. It's a coffee maker, all silvery and shiny. And let me tell you, after being an old married woman for all of a year, a coffee maker is a crucial household item to have when you are up in the morning with you and hubby and you're running late and you're on your way to work.
Thank you, Roxie. That was thoughtful.
Leeza, what is your problem? Why are you snorting like you're in a barnyard?
Oh, it's nothing. It's just great that Callie likes your present so much.
I told you she would. Exactly how much did you have to drink in there?
Don't worry, I can hold my liquor.
Yeah, as everyone can see. So, Erin, how was your flight in?
It was good. Right on schedule.
You ever been to Sweetland before?
Nope. First time.
Very different from New England, huh?
New England.
Isn't that where you know Callie from?
She knows me from Vassar. That's in Poughkeepsie, upstate New York.
Oh, you know, same difference. What do I know?
I live in Maryland.
Oh, well, that's nice. Not too far.
Still a hike for you to fly in.
It's a nice change of pace. Feels like a holiday.
And how about you, Shannon? Did you fly in from Los Angeles or were you in Memphis?
I was in LA.
Are you working on a show?
I'm between projects right now and I was glad to fly in. How many times is my little sister gonna have a bridal shower?
Well, hopefully only once. Stop snorting, Leeza, or we're gonna turn you loose in the garden and you can dig for truffles.
Oh boy, here we go.
Maybe we should go ahead and give our toast to Callie. And maybe you should start things off, Valerie, by giving your talk.
Oh, now, I don't know. Would you like that, Callie?
I think that sounds like a great idea. I would love to hear what you have to say. I've heard bits and pieces here and there, but it'll be new to everyone else. Do you have a tablet to show them the app?
Oh, well, no. You know, I look at things on the desktop computer in my house a lot of the time, but I can show people some pictures on the phone. I mean, it's not quite as good as the tablet.
I bet it'll work fine. Go for it.
All right. Well, the app I'd like to tell you about is called iNaturalist, and I've been using it for a little over a year, and it has changed my life. I mean, it's kind of a crowdsourcing, only we're not crowdsourcing money, we're crowdsourcing details about the things we see, information and pictures we share. Well, I'm sure you've been as worried as I have about the prospect of a bug apocalypse, of how the sixth extinction that we are now in is affecting animals and plants, but insects in particularly. Well, we can't stop all that from happening. I mean, we can't stop the cell of Roundup, which is killing honeybees and killing milkweed plants that the monarch butterflies need to lay their eggs on, because that's all their little caterpillars will eat. But as citizen scientists, we can make a difference. We can help the experts keep track of which species get sighted where and their migration patterns and how early in the year you find them and where some of them are resurgent. I mean, take a look at this picture. It's an American bumblebee. I took the picture in this garden right over there, and you know someone identified it for me on iNaturalist. You've got your geo in your phone, so you take the picture and the time is built in, the date, the location, and you share it and people post information. I thought I had one kind of bee, and the AI said that it might be that, but then a naturalist on the West Coast told me what it was, and I read his book and everything. You think, oh my goodness, I have never seen a bee like this, and you've got a whole community to help you. And I found out that this bee is struggling. I mean, you learn all about these species right here in your yard, and how you're maybe helping them with your flowers. Well, maybe next year I'll turn more of the yard into a pollinator's garden. I'm glad I didn't do that this year though, because I can host this party and host Callie's wedding. But next year, I'll get rid of more grass. I mean, you saw my front yard. It's rocks, plants, bushes, no lawn to mow anymore. Honestly, grass is a desert for pollinators, an absolute desert. And everybody in America wants a perfect lawn and plain grass, all the same. They keep mowing it down. Well, how can living things go through their life cycle that way? And people spend a fortune on non-native plants and trees. I mean, go with the ones that have always lived here. That's what bugs can eat. That's what birds and insects that live here like the most. So I'm imagining a garden next year with more flowers and also interesting native weeds, common ones, because things like dandelions and chickweed are edible. And let's say a leafcutter bee has been eating the leaves of my plants. Well, that's just fine. That's exactly what's supposed to happen. You shouldn't be demanding a pristine garden or a pristine lawn. I mean, we have to change the way we see our yards and our neighbors' yards. We have to change our whole concept of what a beautiful backyard looks like.
Hey, Leeza, stop that.
What?
Stop guzzling punch from my cup. You're already drunk enough as it is.
Go to hell.
Hey, guys, settle down. Hey, Valerie, I was really enjoying what you were saying.
Totally. I'm going back to Baltimore and tell my dad to fire the kid who mows and get rid of the lawn. Front and back. I think a jungly garden for pollinators would be a lot more fun.
Anyhow, I've said enough. You get the idea.
No, please. Say everything you plan to say.
Oh, but people at a party don't want to lecture.
I do. And this is my dream bridal shower, and everybody else can just eat your delicious scones and deal with it.
Well, I did want to show you a few more pictures on my phone. My best ones from this summer. We still haven't identified this fuzzy white caterpillar, though there are some theories. I mean, it might be kind of a silkworm moth. Sometimes you even get some naturalist down in New Zealand who knows all the species in North America writing in saying this is this insect and this is the name of the plant it's on. I mean, plants you didn't even know were in your yard. And he identifies a species by looking at something you'd never think of, like the length of the insect's antenna or the distance between the dots on the wings.
It is remarkable, Valerie, that you get such good pictures on your phone.
Yes, the phone's so good, it makes me look like a decent photographer. Here's one more caterpillar.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, it's an eastern tiger swallowtail. Isn't that remarkable? I mean, those things that look like giant eyes.
But they're not eyes?
No, they're false eye spots to scare off the predators. Because they look so big, the predators think their caterpillar is bigger than it is. Several kinds of swallowtail caterpillars have them, but not all. And taking the pictures, it's just a good excuse to sit in your garden for 5 minutes and just experience it. No, you slow down. You appreciate what you have.
Amen to that.
Pollinators like lots of different flower shapes and heights. I mean, you plant a bunch of them in clusters, all the same kind. It's even more efficient for the bugs when they're foraging. I mean, if you look around, you can see that's what I've tried to do. And a garden can last all year. I mean, if you put plants that bloom in different months, I've got zinnias, but also late blooming asters. I mean, there are even a few non-native species that bloom in February. But as I said, it's best not to go nutty with those.
The problem with our backyard is there are a bunch of trees. I mean, they're nice and shady, but they're not so good for the lawn, and they're not so good for other plants.
Well, you can see I've got trees and shady patches. I mean, I recommend Annabelle hydrangeas. They do nicely in the shade. And purple and red columbines. If you want monarch butterflies, poke milkweed might work for a shady garden. But of course, with any kind of milkweed, you will get wasps. I just personally think it's worth it to help out the monarchs as much as we can. Now, what have I left out?
Oh, warn them about the plant nurseries.
Oh, right. Well, you know, when you buy plants at a nursery, make sure they haven't been treated with pesticides. Some people might advertise that a plant is protected against aphids and whiteflies, beetles, mealybugs. Never go to that nursery again. You grill them to make sure they're not doing that. Because if a plant is treated with neonicotinoids, it'll get into the food chain, it'll get into the bees. I mean, it may not kill them, or not right away, but it messes up with how they navigate. I mean, there are all kinds of ways around insecticides.
But you're okay with my bug repellent, right?
Let me see which one you're using again. Oh, yeah, that's all right when you roll it on. I mean, to get rid of mosquitoes in standing water, you could try a mosquito dunk. They lay their eggs in the bucket and a parasite eats their young. I mean, if your dog drinks it, it's harmless. It doesn't kill other bugs. And if you have bird baths, you can also try changing the water every day. Incidentally, a bird bath will keep the squirrels from eating your tomatoes. They eat mainly because they're thirsty. And there are all kinds of organic solutions. Maybe I should stop there.
Tell them about cover crops, because I find what you've been saying about that really interesting.
Yeah, well, that is another thing I've been reading about. Cover crops are kind of a green manure. They enrich the soil for the next year. It goes beyond having a compost heap, and don't compost all your plants because sometimes there are insects and other living things inside. And sometimes you want to let them lie and rot naturally. And you leave spaces. Don't put mulch everywhere. You need bare ground for those ground dwellers. People who come in and plant a garden for you won't always tell you that. With a garden, you plan, but you're allowed to grow wild. You can feel the rhythms of nature. I mean, how things thrive and then die and decay, and how that's all right. I mean, how that's part of a larger pattern. Oh, I'm sorry if this sounds pretentious or zen or I don't know what, but especially in a stressful time. And Callie, I know preparing for your wedding makes for a stressful time. Or in a time of grief, as both Charlotte and I found out when we lost our husbands. Just any time of trouble or disappointment or anxiety. working in a garden for a few hours a day, or just sitting here when it's quiet and watching living things go by. It can be very good therapy.
True that.
So, the secret to a good cover crop, again, is diversity. There are no monocrops in nature. You need plants that do different things to the soil, above ground and below. Buckwheat is a nurse plant. It comes up first and encourages other cover crops. Well, then you get crimson clover, and oh, it's a plus that crimson clover can be so very pretty.
Crimson clover over and
Shut up, Leeza. Behave.
And some grasses can add good things to a cover crop. And kale and daikon radish, I mean, that could be a huge root. You can harvest them or leave them to rot for your spring planting.
Wait, Valerie, is crimson clover the same as crown vetch?
Oh, heck no. Stay away from that crown vetch. It grows so fast. I mean, you see a little and you think it's all right, and then the next day, bam, 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 bam. Oh, and try to include animals, which is really hard for urban gardeners like us.
Suburban gardeners.
That's what I meant.
I put the bourbon back into suburban life.
Shh. Well, not every year, but 3 or 4 years, you know, I kind of mix a load of manure in with my compost. But to get some of the benefit of animals. I mean, it's true that urban gardeners, we're not going to have cows and goats nibbling and doing everything animals do for a garden. Please let me know if you live around here and want me to take a look at your garden and recommend plants. And I can give you cuttings, and I know some good nurseries and places to get seeds online.
Like the seeds in our swag bags?
Yes, those packages of seeds should work in almost any garden. And let me know if you'd like to join our iNaturalist group or find one in your area. Because the Sweetland Gardeners group, well, we set a goal to identify pollinators this summer, and we're already way past our goal. I mean, we've had 146 observations, 50 positive identifications so far. Well, I'm a nerd, so I really enjoy this stuff. I just can't get over the novelty of snapping a picture and then someone telling me how unusual it is to have a sighting like that in this part of Tennessee. Of course, you can't always get a good picture. I mean, some bees are just teeny tiny, and some of them just take off so fast. I mean, they don't want to pose for pictures. I'll stop now. Thank you all for indulging me. And thank you, Callie, for asking me to do this and for letting me do this at your bridal shower. I am wishing you years of beauty and growth and change and renewal for you and for Mark in a wonderful garden of your own.
It's the circle of life.
Leeza, shut up.
And I'm done now.
That was, in its own way, a beautiful, moving, absolutely wonderful bridal shower speech, Miss Valerie. So, thank you.
So, who's next?
Well, I may as well go next, right after Valerie. Is that all right?
Yes.
Well, I don't know Callie as well as the rest of you, but I've seen her here from time to time since she was a little girl. I'd drop by to see Valerie, and Callie would be here out back, helping in the garden, digging, planting bulbs, or just watching the aphids on the tomato plants. Watching the ants that tend the aphids, like shepherds tending a flock. She'd be asking questions, and at times she seemed to me like kind of a lonely kid, and a sad kid. And at other times, she was funny and curious and excited about something we saw going on out here. Or she'd be chattering away about some book she was reading in school, or a book Valerie lent her. Books on nature, classics, and science fiction. And Valerie and I would give her our 2 cents about it. Or sometimes we'd just sit out here and not say anything at all. And I know that spending time in this garden did her good, the way it did me good. So Callie, I just want to say that I'm so pleased to see how you've grown up into a poised, confident, lovely young woman, and I wish you every happiness.
And who's next?
I can go, since the subject of Callie in books has come up.
Yes. Say what's on your mind.
Okay, so I met Callie in Gordon Commons, the dining hall at Vassar, our first week of junior year. She looked kind of shy and scared, and she told me she had just graduated from
Sweetland Technical College.
Right. And I know several alums from there are here today. And she told me she was going to be an English major. And I just thought, oh, I'll take this girl under my wing. I'll introduce her to my friends. We'll explain stuff to her.
Why? Did you think she was dumb and ignorant? Because she came from a junior college in Tennessee?
Well, it could be that I was a snob.
Yeah, could be.
I certainly didn't expect her to have read half the books on the fall reading list, and most of the books that I congratulated myself on reading when I was growing up.
Huh. That was pretty stupid of you, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of was. And that's kind of what I got up here to say. I wanted to say that I started out thinking I'd show Callie around and say deep and witty things, and I wound up getting schooled about life and Faulkner and Flannery O'Connor and Thomas Wolfe, but also Russian literature, Turgenev and Tolstoy, and all kinds of people. I wound up staying up till 2 a.m. having discussions about less famous works by the Bronte sisters. I got some books explained to me by this woman better than the professors were explaining them in seminars. And what was more amazing was that she was so freaking eclectic. I was never good at science and math. I resented the Vassar distribution requirements. And I couldn't believe how Callie got off on things outside our major. Zoology, molecular biology. She ate up all these different things for breakfast, and she made them all look easy. So, instead of saying deep and witty things to her, I wound up sitting at her feet, more or less, and letting her say them. I'd get relationship advice, career planning advice, advice on cutting repetition out of my papers, and untangling my vague, pretentious sentences. And I owe her for a lot. I also owe her for her humor and for obscure movies and bands she turned me on to, hanging out at a party or one-on-one with an unexpected good friend, someone very different than myself, enjoying the random weirdness of us being thrown together, talking about stuff I'd never thought I'd like, developing a language all our own, full of in-jokes and silliness. I think that's what college should be. I want to thank you, Callie, for that. And Callie, I know that you're strong and you're kind. And you will get through all the stress and strangeness of this moment. All the crazy things being thrown at you.
What crazy things are being thrown at her?
All the difficult stuff that goes along with being married, having people like me come in from out of town and having your different worlds thrown together. You're going to come through all of this with flying colors, and you will be fine. I'm wishing you and Mark a wonderful future together with a big, beautiful garden full of bugs and pollinator plants. Hear, hear! I'm wishing you 5 different homes, one here in Sweetland, one in a fabulous apartment in Buenos Aires with an ocean view, Is it on the ocean?
The Rio de la Plata, it's kind of a gulf and a river.
Whatever it is, I wish you a fabulous view of it. With people down below on the docks doing the tango, and another home out on the Pampas with lots of gaucho cowboy guys, or in Tierra del Fuego. Whatever, geography was another subject I wasn't great at. But wherever you live, I wish you a ton of happiness and long, interesting conversations about everything and nothing and wonderful underground rock bands and every good thing you could wish for. Hang in there, muchacha.
Who's next? Well, I don't know if I can top a toast like that, but I'd sure like to tell my little sister what's in my heart. Do you mind if I go next?
Absolutely.
So I do think a toast should be about sharing a memory like Callie's friend Erin just did, and I've been trying to remember some of the shared good times that Callie and I have had over the years. Because it's hard. We're 14 years apart and we've lived in different cities or different states most of our lives. Sometimes I've flown back here to Sweetland, and I even saw some of you at her birthday parties when you were little girls. I was kind of a prop or a home entertainment system at those parties, but I didn't mind. But they weren't about me and my sister spending time together. Or her Sweet 16 party. It was kind of the same thing. I was glad to help her plan it and not sell herself short. But there was so much going on. We didn't have time alone to open up and talk, or, you know, develop private jokes and a private language, like Erin said. And then I started remembering something from when Callie was a very little girl. Like when she was 5 or 6 years old, she visited me on the set of a movie I was doing. I was all of 19 or 20 at the time, and we had a game we played where she was like my little pet. She was a little puppy dog of mine who'd follow me around at my heels. A little dog called Batman for some reason. I don't remember why, but that was a warm, fun memory of two sisters playing and spending time together years ago. And here we are now. And Callie is all grown up, a beautiful woman in her own right, about to get married and live happily ever after. She's not my little puppy dog anymore. So I just wanted to say to my kid sister, I'm proud you've come this far and gotten in touch with your feminine side, and let yourself be sentimental and live the fairy tale dream. To my wonderful sister, Callie Cooper.
Wow. What a warm and loving big sister.
Absolutely.
Shannon, that was great. Thank you so much for coming all this way. And thank you so much for being my big sister.
But did I say something wrong, or?
Oh, nothing is wrong. I've got a couple friends here who are grumpy, I think, because they planned this party and they didn't get to make their toasts yet.
Oh, we're not grumpy. We're just surprised.
So, Roxie, you did hard work on the logistics of this event. I think it is high time that you got to make a toast. Roxie's a poet, you know. She's gone to poetry slams. I even went with her once to one in Memphis, and she was fierce. She had them stomping and cheering, and then we went out for a barbecue, and she made a convincing case for putting sauce on the dry rub. Now, is this going to be a regular toast, Roxie, or is this going to be a poem?
Yeah, I was planning to just make a regular toast, but then it poured out of me as a poem. It came out of a dream I had. The topic for this poem. I know that Callie doesn't write poems. She studies her bugs and dissects her small animals for science class. And she may stay up all night at Vassar talking about the Bronte sisters. But she's not really one for creative writing. But if she did do that, if she did write poetry, then I know that this is the poem she would have written. So I decided I'd write it for her and let her speak through me. I will be the vector for what she would say and let her voice and my voice kind of blend. This poem is called Emily Dickinson, Troublemaker.
That sounds like fun.
To hell with you, Emily Dickinson. To hell with your genteel, circumscribed life and your anemic spinster ways. To hell with your birds and flowers and beetles and chirpy living things. To hell with cloying niceness and shyness, so non-threatening they actually let you in the canon. To hell with greeting card verse posing as profound insights. To hell with lacy little death poems delicate as doilies, and the mad lady in the attic commenting on the weather because, as we all know, that's what ladies do. Up yours, Emily Dickinson. Up yours with a slant of light and a funeral in your brain. Up yours with a lightning that's a yellow fork and with a rout of evanescence. I'd like to gag you with a tippet and frig you with a frigate. I'd like to rub your pinched, pale little face and the blood and horror of Shiloh and Antietam and all the roiling pain and combat and suffering of your age. All the wrenching fury and horror that a shy, retiring church mouse like you chose not to see. Did Daddy mess with you? Or the local parson? Too bad. I'd like to force you to run naked as a jaybird through the wild, orgiastic ecstasy of the dawn of women who claim their boobs and pudendas, their bodies and sexuality as their own. Women who cuss and smash things when their menstrual cramps get bad. And reach for a guy in the bar if he's what she wants. And holler and fight and howl at the moon. I'd like to force you to take a drag on an unfiltered cigarette and make you surf on an ocean of cheap beer. Maybe then you'd do more than lap the miles. Maybe you'd let yourself go and have wild nights, for real. And laugh and whoop and realize there's nothing romantic or brave about a mimsy shut-in. Maybe you'd stop being the icon of womanhood as nothing. Women as a sickly sweet sachet laid away in the back of a drawer with its stink going stale. Go ahead and shove it, Emily Dickinson. You gave us sitcom moms vacuuming in pearls and English teachers assigning darling little versalettes, exquisite nicey nice little palmlets, and telling us all to go off and write the same. I hope you choke on your crumbs of poignant luxury. I hope you gag on that thing with feathers. You're the reason that women register in bridal shops and turn all dewy-eyed and wistful and yearning and gather and yank their friends around them like a daisy chain, heavier and more oppressive than steel. To hell with you, Emily. More trouble than you're worth. Our chitinous role model without guts or gusto. Go suffocate demurely in an ample bed. Go putter in your garden with your luscious peas and pods and your unsuspected violets. Rot with them, caper, and drown. Suck on your prancing poetry, kiss off, and leave us alone.
Wow. What a good friend.
Yes, really.
Thank you for sharing your poem with us, Roxie.
Well, it's really your poem.
If you say
It's
so.
our poem.
Thanks for sharing it. You certainly communicated something you wanted me to know.
What do you mean?
I mean, you were so forceful. You said what you meant, and you meant what you said.
Oh. Yeah, well, my muse is a temperamental hoe. She doesn't always come through for me. But I figure the poems that come to us in dreams, they're gravy. They're freebies from heaven. They're the ones that we gotta say thank you for.
Of course. And thank you to you, and maybe we should head into the house?
And you can see your coffee maker.
Right. Or, I know Miss Valerie has prepared all kinds of goods. I'm kind of feeling full right now, with all those delicious scones and the jam.
We can sit for a while before I serve something else. No rush. Or if you feel like you've had too much sun, Callie, whatever you want to do. It's your day.
Thank you. I maybe we should just sit for a while. You've all worked hard to put this day together.
And we haven't finished all the toasts yet.
We haven't? Oh, right. Leeza?
Oh, look at her. She's gonna start snoring in a minute.
You know, if she isn't feeling well, she doesn't have to speak. Maybe we should just let her rest.
Nope. This is her big moment and she's not gonna blow it. She wrote something. She told me about it inside. Leeza, rise and shine.
Oh, is it time for dessert?
It's not time for dessert or for dessert wine. It's time for your bridal shower toast. You're on, girl.
I am. Oh, goody. I am just so pleased to do this for Callie and for Mark because, you know, that was the one thing that I felt the need to do again. Be a maid of honor. Callie knew that I had done it 3 times before, and so she knew that I knew how to do it right. Nobody else in this town knows how to be a maid of honor like me, and so she chose the best. And it's an important job, even if the bride doesn't want to take a picture. And I wrote up my toast before I got fried, so I bet I can read it. It's on my phone.
It's with your flask.
With my flask, right. So, here goes. I've known Callie for years and years. I remember the little girl in 2nd grade with the United Colors of Benetton outfit that looked so new and shone so bright. It made what I was wearing look like I got it from the Goodwill. I remember the girl in 5th grade very politely correcting my grammar and trying to pretend that she didn't think that she was smarter than me and didn't think that my family was trash. And I just had to say, what a classy kid. And on through the happy years, through junior high and high school and Sweetland Tech, that old friend of mine, helping me out when I didn't get a reference she made or I said something wrong, covering for me when I got drunk and messed up, forgiving me when I transgressed. And still, we have this kind of adversarial relationship. You know, we're friends the way that the 2 cats in a bag are friends, two coyotes fighting over a piece of dead possum. We're that close. Callie doesn't know what to make of me sometimes. But Mark understands me. Mark gets me. And he has a good time with me when Callie is looking down on me from way, way, way up from her great height.
And that's the truth.
Well, I'm here to talk about truth. Because this is an event where we lay it out on the line, where we let it all hang out, where we strip it bare.
Kind of like you did at the bachelor party, huh?
Oh, Roxie, you quit that. You quiet on down. You quit a night. Quite a party.
All right. Why don't we all just go inside now for a while?
No, I'm not done. I've been maid of honor. I've been made the maid of honor, and I am still speaking because I am here to make a speech. You asked me to do this. You gave me this job. What?
You say we have an adversarial relationship and 2 cats in a bag. And I'm just thinking, I can't recall us
ever being in a fight. Ever.
The cafe in Memphis.
What cafe in Memphis?
We went there before you went to Vassar. You scolded me over the cute waiter.
I scolded you? Oh, I think I remember. You kept flirting with him. You were touching him, touching his arm, and being all sexual with him. And it seemed like he didn't want you to, but because he was your server, he couldn't risk telling you where to go.
Oh, because he couldn't have been attracted to me. Because how could anybody be attracted to me?
I guess I don't know why you'd want to make someone uncomfortable in that way when they can't stop you. I said I thought it was wrong to do that. To abuse the position of power. If a man did that to a woman...
Oh, go to hell! Little Miss Perfect, purity, perfect, politically correct.
Okay, let's wind this up now and go into the house.
No!
Sorry, but it's my garden, and I'm just gonna have to stage a little intervention and make an executive decision here.
No, I am speaking right now to my friend, Callie, who came back to Sweetland after Vassar, like a tourist gawking at the crazy local yokels, but also as an old friend. Almost. And I did want to be friends again. I miss singing with you. When you came swooping on down from your great height, I miss singing with you. We could sing every word on Casey Musgrave's Same Trailer Park. Same trailer, different park. And now it's all ugly, but I tried to hang on to it. I liked the way that it felt to sing those songs. I didn't want to lose.
Okay.
I didn't want to.
Okay, Leeza. Okay.
Don't you forgive me?
Okay, I won't forgive you, but I'm sorry I made you maid of honor if it caused you this much pain.
Hell, you wouldn't forgive her if you knew about the bachelor party.
Roxie, you just shut up. You just shut your face with your nasty poem and your secondhand gift that she doesn't even like. She doesn't even drink coffee, you bitch.
Oh, now let's be real, Leeza. Callie wouldn't forgive you if she knew about you and Mark getting it on in the alley by the strip club.
Bitch!
Just waltzing on out the fire exit door and mixing it up in the alley.
Shut up! Oh,
did you swing and miss?
Hey there, Mark. How's it going? Nope, it's still going on. Oh, everyone's fine. They don't mind me making a call. No, I just want to ask you something. This will only take a minute. Did you have sex with Leeza the night of your bachelor party in an alley? So, not sex, just like making out, fooling around, or... Uh-huh. I see. Well, listen, here's the thing. The wedding is off. So we need to figure out people who sent us checks. How do we get that money back to them? I think I've got a list of everybody from my side who sent a check and a card. Sure, they can hear me. Now. Don't use that tone with me ever again. I don't have to take that kind of crap from you anymore. As for the things we registered for, we can send them back. Except my friend Erin bought me a gravy boat, and they pay her for that. I do see, and I don't care. Mark, go to hell. Well, it looks like this party is over. Maybe people should take their gifts with them on the way out. Especially that coffee maker, Roxie, and screw you for giving it to me. Maybe you can re-gift it to Leeza, or whoever gave it to you last year.
Callie, I only told you about the bachelor party because I think you should know. I don't think Leeza meant anything by it, or Mark. They were just wasted, joking around. It was a crazy night. I think the person that you should be upset with...
Take your coffee maker, and take your FU of a poem, and get out.
Say, you forgive me?
I already said I don't forgive you, and that was when I didn't even know what you did, and I sure as hell don't forgive you now. No, get out, both of you, scat!
Damn, girl. All right. Fine.
It's okay now, Leeza. Come on, you got this. You can walk.
But I didn't want it to happen this way.
Come on, now. Oh, Callie. I'm so very sorry. This must be a real shock to you.
But don't you want to talk to Mark? Give him a chance to explain?
No! But it seems like maybe that girl is not your friend. And if she set out to make trouble between you and Mark.
Yeah, she did. I get the feeling she's been calling Mark at work, trash talking me, commiserating with him about how awful I am.
So you see, he's not the one.
And I told she's not well. How she was scary at Roxie's wedding last year, and he didn't believe me. He said I'm the crazy, scary one.
But if she's been manipulating him, coming on to him, if she set out to ruin all of this for you.
She did. But Mark chose to let her do it.
I'm saying that a bachelor party can be a time for all sorts of stupid...
Shannon, please. I appreciate you coming here, and I appreciate you trying to help.
No, doesn't really seem like you do. It seems like I came a long way for nothing. I guess I'll call an Uber and get to the airport a few hours before my flight.
Callie?
Miss Valerie, I am so sorry. All your hard work and all your good food.
Oh, forget it. It freezes. I'll send some home with you. It'll taste better tomorrow.
Thank you. I'd like that.
Come on, Charlotte. We'll put together a care package for Callie. Erin, would you like one too?
Yeah, that sounds good.
You two stay out here for as long as you like. If you need anything at all, you just give me a holler, okay?
Okay. Well, well, well.
Jesus, Callie. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, well, better a big old bucket of pig's blood now than at the actual wedding. They got me pretty good, though.
Are you okay?
Did I call it? Is that some downright stinking worthless ass karma I've got, or what?
Every one of them deserves a punch in the face. Your friends, Mark.
Not my sister, though. She meant well. That's what makes it sadder. Maybe I should call her, or I'll deal with that later. And Leeza seems to be in real pain. I'm sorry to cause anybody that much pain.
If she's a broken toy, it's not your fault. And don't you forgive her.
I said I can't. This is... Like I said, I can't. This is too ugly. I don't think friendship comes back from this. I don't know how I come back from this. It's because I tried to force a magic moment, like I said. A big old celebration of me.
Hey, I'm nobody. Who are you? Are you nobody too? Then there's a pair of us. Don't tell. They'd advertise, you know?
How dreary to be somebody. How public, like a frog, to tell one's name the livelong June to an admiring bog.
It's good you stood up for Emily Dickinson. It's good you stood up to your friends. So I didn't have to punch out the both of them.
It felt pretty violent anyhow, without any violence. How come I'm so calm? Is it because I'm in shock?
Probably.
They can't be my friends anymore. I don't think. I know you're supposed to cut your friends slack. I know there's give and take.
Nope. This is not symbiotic. It's parasitic. They're not your friends when they're burrowing holes into you and secreting enzymes and slurping and chomping on your skin cells.
They're not chiggers, Erin.
They're not?
I think I'll miss them. I'll miss singing with Leeza, just like she'll miss it. I'll miss Roxie's jokes. I'll miss the sense that I was building a family.
You got family. You got me, you got a nice librarian and her friend. That's a good start. You'll go someplace else and find some nice people.
Costa Rica.
Really? Costa Rica?
I've been reading about this program in Costa Rica. You get environmental training and you work instead of paying tuition, like a forest ranger, but in the rainforest. They have cloud forests and tropical dry forests. I don't think I want to go to the Amazon. My Spanish is lousy, but my Portuguese is non-existent, and it would be painful to be in Brazil, where there's a government out to trash the rainforest and no one can stop them. Painful to stand on the sidelines and watch it all burn. But Costa Rica's kind of calling to me. You know, it's a tiny country, but it's where the ecosystems of North and South America meet. So it's more biologically diverse than just about anywhere else. They've got more plants and creepy crawly stuff.
When were you reading about this program?
When I was supposed to be sensible on planning for my wedding and my honeymoon. Which maybe means something. Like I was looking for a way out. Because the people around me were freaky and scary. I found this site and I read up on this program and I charted this whole other fantasy future.
But it doesn't have to be a fantasy now, because you're not tied down to anyone.
Nope. I'm disengaged. Better get this back to Mark. It was his mother's. I'll miss him, like I'll miss Leeza and Roxie. I'll miss the good times before the engagement made everything scary and sad.
Don't think about it. Breathe in the garden.
Breathe it in.
Look around. You've got whatever, cover crops and vegetables and bugs everywhere and crimson clover and green compost and big rotting radish roots.
Yeah.
And I bet a rainforest is like that, only more so.
Sure. With rhinoceros beetles and tree frogs, with jumbo flowers and tiny little hummingbirds.
Sounds amazing.
So, I'll just let this dream I had about a wedding shrivel up and die. And rot.
And good things will grow.